So what are the signs that you're doing actually well financially? The reason I wanted to record this video, I noticed that, well, actually many of my clients, those who, have significant funds, they tend to find themselves in the state of lack. And they feel like, if they have more money, well, their situation would be improved. But frequently that is not only the case, at least not from the financial perspective. And of course, when, the numbers I'm about to share with you, I have to be very careful. I don't necessarily want it to be any kind of sensitive topic. And before we get started, what also comes to mind, I recently had a meeting with a brand new client and we started talking about her goals and objectives and, started talking about her finances. But what I really appreciated about this client, she immediately told me that she's actually very comfortable and very thankful for everything she has. She just wants to, optimize a couple of things. But that really made me think that perhaps more people should be thankful for what they have. And, hopefully that will prevent them from finding themselves in this, again, state of lack. And why is this important? Well, one of the primary benefits of retirement planning is not just to make sure that you're prepared financially, of course that's very important, but it's to ensure that you have this peace of mind, that you reduce your anxiety about your upcoming retirement, or perhaps you're already in retirement. And if you find yourself in this never-ending state of lack, well, that is not going to help you. And for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Alex Selesnev, and I run Capital Squared Financial, a wealth advisory firm. Well, so what are the signs that you're doing, well financially? And again, I don't want this to be controversial, and I'm not trying to necessarily, compare, but just for you to know the statistics. And if somehow, some way you're below the numbers that I'm about to share with you, that's not necessarily a problem. That just gives you a target to work towards. So here's the first one. 56% of Americans don't have $1,000 emergency reserve. And what that means, to say it differently, if they have an expense, a car repair, or something happens in their house and it costs more than $1,000 to fix it, they would not be able to afford it. And that is certainly a problem. Now, here's a more specific example for people over the age of 57, and this is according to Forbes. Less than half do not have 3 to 6 months of emergency reserve saved. That is a problem, in case someone loses his or her job. How exactly will they be covering their expenses? And that is one of the top recommendations you'll hear from most financial advisors, to keep anywhere between 3 to 6 months of your emergency reserves in cash. Now, for those specifically between the age of 55 and 65, and this is also according to Forbes, the median savings, meaning savings for retirement, are $134,000. The average is $408,000, but as many of you know, the average can be impacted quite a bit by some of those, smallest and largest accounts. So if you're, in this age group, and if you have essentially more than $400,000, well, you're already better off. And here's one of the statistics that was actually somewhat concerning to me. And this is according to Schwab. So they performed this study, this survey of their clients essentially. And what they discovered is that 1/3, or essentially 35% of retirees specifically, have a written financial plan. So that means that the remaining 2/3, they essentially have no plan in place. Now, from my perspective, anytime I hear statistics like that, the question that comes up, well, how many of those people have a retirement specific plan? Meaning, of course, investment plan, how they're going to be distributing the funds to themselves, tax optimization plan, because that is very different compared to perhaps those who are in their accumulation stage of their life. So that's again something to keep in mind. So one helpful exercise for you to consider here, and I frequently use it when I work with someone, and let's say this person is still not 100% comfortable in terms of their direction. Well, I remind them, where they were perhaps 2-3 years ago, and chances are you had, in some cases significantly less than what you have now, and you are moving in the right direction. Perhaps if you look at it from the, annual or even, quarterly perspective, which is perhaps something you shouldn't be doing, it may not feel that way, but again, over longer periods, chances are you are moving in the right direction. And again, what's important here, back to where we started, is to focus and be thankful for what you have so that you don't find yourself in this never-ending state of lack.